we're going to talk about the surface area and volume of pyramids and cones. Let's start with pyramids. So you can think about the Egyptian pyramid. So pyramids have triangular faces. So front, back, left, and right, they meet at one point, and the bottom can be any shape. The bottom could be a square, a rectangle, a triangle, a hexagon, a pentagon. It doesn't matter. As long as the base is a polygon and all of your faces or sides meet in one point, those sides will be triangular and your overall shape will be a pyramid. So to find the surface area, you're going to have to find the area of that base, whatever it is, plus the area of each triangular side. If you want to find the volume of a pyramid, it's actually very similar to the volume of a rectangular prism. So to find the volume of a pyramid, you're going to do 1/3 the area of the base times that perpendicular height. So notice that if I have these two shapes, if I have a rectangular prism and a pyramid that's the same height and has the same base, notice that the pyramid will go into that rectangular prism exactly 3 times. That's what this bottom picture here is showing us. Let's say I want to fill the prism with sand. Let's say I take my pyramid and I use it as a scoop, and I scoop up sand and I pour it in. As long as the height is the same and the base is the same, so they're both the exact same square or the exact same rectangle, for example, then to find that volume, it's going to take 3 of those pyramid scoops to fill up that rectangular prism. Now, there are some things to note. Notice here that if I want to find the area of those sides, I'm going to have to find the slant height. In other words, when I find the area of a triangle, I need the height of the triangle. But this up and down height h, that's the height of the pyramid. Instead, I want L. Now, this slant height L is automatically going to be perpendicular to the length of this base. So if I can find that slant height, then I'll be able to find the area of each individual triangle face. Something to note is that you can use Pythagorean theorem. So notice that I have this portion here, that little short leg is exactly half the length this direction. This up and down is the height, and that is my slant height. Let's go ahead and put this into practice and see if that helps. So in this first question, I have a pyramid, and in particular, it's a square pyramid. I've drawn out the pyramid's net. So remember, a net shows you what happens if you unfold it. If I drop down each of these triangular sides, and that's my square bottom, I'm going to get this shape right here. I want to go ahead and begin labeling some of this information. Let's see what we know so far. We know that this is 10, and that is 10. Okay? And that's because of those bases. I also have that slant height as being 10. Let me go ahead and change its color. It's 10, but it's for a different reason being 10. So go ahead and show that this thing here and that thing there, those are also going to be 10. That's that slant height. So let's go ahead now and find out what the surface area is. So let's go ahead and come to here. So my surface area is again the area of the base plus the area of the triangles. So the area of the base, that's this square. So let me make a note of that. It's going to be the area of the square. In our case, 4 times the area of the triangles, because I've got 4 congruent triangles because my base was a square. Okay, so the area of the square is 10 times 10. Okay, and that's coming from this section right here. That's the 10 times 10. Let's come over to here, plus 4, because I'm going to have 4 triangles, times 1/2 base times height. My base is 10, and my height is also 10. Let's go ahead and see what we've got. So coming through here, 10 times 10 is 100. So that means the area of the square is 100. And I had 4 triangles. Each triangle's area was 1/2 base times height. So 10 times 10 is 100. Half of 100 is 50. 4 times 50 is 200. This means that overall, my surface area is 300 inches squared. Okay, so I found area of the square and the area of the four triangles. Let's go ahead and do volume. Remember, volume is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. When I use a capital B, it's referring to area of the base. So 1/3, and our area of the base, remember our base is a square. So it's 10 times 10. They say you have to do it times the height. They come back and check. Do I have the height of the figure? Not yet. I need to find this height coming down here. Now, there are some other things I do know, though. I know that length there. This length in red is exactly half the size of this length here. That's always the case. So this red portion is 5. I see the slant height of 10, and I need to find the height of the actual pyramid. So I'm going to pause this for a moment and go off to the side and actually solve Pythagorean theorem. So notice that I have a right triangle here. So I'm kind of slide it over here. What I have is 5 squared plus h squared equals 10 squared. So again, these are A and B, and that's C in Pythagorean theorem. So I have 25 plus h squared equals 100. Okay, subtract 25 from both sides. H squared equals 75. I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 25 times 3. And I'm showing that because we know the square root of 25, that's 5. I have 5 square root of 3. Okay, so that's my actual height. Let's go ahead and now go backwards and plug that on in. So I have 1/3 times 100. That's from the area of the square. And my height is 5 root 3. Okay, let's go ahead and plug this into a calculator. Okay, so I've got 1/3, 100 times 5. Then I've got square root of 3. And that'll give me that decimal approximate answer. So let me first give the exact answer. The exact answer is 500 root 3 over 3. And the approximate is 288 point. I'm going to go ahead and round out 2 decimal places. So 0.68, and these will be in inches cubed. Remember, volume is always going to be cubed. Okay, so quick recap. So up here I have my surface area of the square, and the 4 triangles. Down here I have volume, 1/3 times area of the base times that perpendicular height. Area of the base is 10 times 10. To find the height, I had to use Pythagorean theorem based on this triangle right here. This 5 is because it's half of this length here. That 10 gave me the slant height. I was solving for h. When I found it, I plugged it back in. I simplified this, and I plugged it into a calculator to get out the decimal answer. Let's try the same thing for this next question. This one is a rectangular pyramid. So notice that over here, I have dimensions of 4 and 3. And I have this 6 here. I'm going to have to do several things with this. So let's first go over this direction. Let's go over this way, and I want to come down that way. So over here, this dimension is 2. I'm going to need to find this over here by using Pythagorean theorem. Let me go ahead and do that right now. And I'm just going to call this, let's just call it C. So I need to find C. Alrighty, so using Pythagorean theorem, I'm going to have 2 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. So 2 squared is 4. 6 squared is 36. This equals C squared. 36 plus 4 is 40. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And the square root of 40, remember that's 4 times 10. Actually, C is going to equal all of this now. So it's c equals 2 root 10. Okay, so that's for this little position right here. That there is 2 root 10. But we have another one. We've got to do the same thing going out this direction. Connecting this all the way down like that. Now this dimension, let me zoom in real close. This one here is 1.5. Okay? So we can do basically the same thing, just using 1.5 instead of 2. So let me kind of zoom down here. And let's go ahead and call this one D. 1.5 squared plus 6 squared equals D squared. 1.5 squared is 2.25 plus 36 equals D squared. When I add them together, I have 38.25 equals D squared. So I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. D equals the square root of 38.25. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for a moment, but we will be mainly dealing with decimals in this question. So let's come back up here and label what we found. Okay, so this one here, that slant height, that's meeting along the 4 here. So what we just found is this height here. That height is the square root of 38.25. Draw a little arrow there. That is a square root of 38.25. Let's draw an arrow over here. Square root 38.25. Right, let's go do the other one. That's this one coming along here. And that one there is 2 root 10. Okay, and these opposite triangles are the same size because you had a rectangle. Okay, let's go ahead and officially put this together to get our surface area. So our surface area is the area of the base. Notice that our base is a rectangle. So we have 3 times 4 to get us 12. Plus, let's go ahead and do these 2 triangles right here. So I've got those 2 triangles times 1/2 times the base. This direction's base was 3. So times 3 times the height, which in our case was 2 root 10. Let's go and do the second set of triangles. 2 times 1/2. This time a base of 4 and the square root of 38.25. Okay, so again, this second set here came from these 2 triangles up there. And there's a lot of writing going on here, I know. I'm going to go ahead and just plug it into a calculator. It's perfectly fine to do that. But do notice that these 2 and that 1/2, they will cancel out. So I do want you to know that I have 12 plus 6 root 10. Again, the 2 and the half cancel. 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 root 10. Plus 2 and a half cancel. So I'm going to have 4 square root of 38.25. And again, we're just going to put this in the calculator because I don't want to solve this part out by hand anyway. So we have 12 plus 6 square root of 10 plus 4 square root of 38.25. Okay, so that value there, that's going to be our surface area. And this is approximately 55.71. Let's go back and check our units. They are feet, so we have feet squared. Okay, so that was our surface area. Let's go ahead and take a look at volume. And luckily, volume will fit in the little space we have left here. Volume is pretty small. So volume equals, and that's just going to be 1/3 area of the base times height. So 1/3 times 12. That's because that rectangle is 3 times 4 times the height of 6. Okay. Well, 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 4 times 6 is 24. So 24 feet cubed. So that's our volume. So, as a quick overview, this one was a little bit harder. Let me go ahead and separate this work though, so you can tell everything that's different. This one was a bit harder because this is a rectangle, so these triangles weren't the same size. But the concept is still the same. You're going to go ahead and use Pythagorean theorem to get those heights. Then you have area of the base, our rectangle. We had two congruent triangles, here and here, and another two congruent triangles, there and there. Plug them in a calculator, whatever you get out, that's your surface area. And then volume for a pyramid is 1/3 area of the base times height.